We have reached the holiest of all weeks in the Christian year. We call it Holy Week for a reason. All of the church year points to this time where we see every year in the most real and visceral terms the sacrifice that God has made in reaching out to humanity to create that bond of love that we experience most especially on Easter Day. But in order to get there, we see the sacrificial love play out in the events of this week. So we started on Sunday with the triumphal entry into Jerusalem, where the people of Israel seem to have an inkling that Jesus is truly the embodiment of God's love come to earth. But then, as Tom Rasnick has said, it's as if we forget. And as we move into the story of Maundy Thursday, the betrayal by Judas, the trial, it's almost as if humanity forgot what that connection with the Creator is all about. But even through that, God the Creator triumphs and love triumphs in the resurrection. And to experience that joy of resurrection most fully, we believe that there is an important process in walking those steps with Jesus all through the week. So on Wednesday night, we had opportunities for folks to walk the labyrinth in a silent meditation about God's governing of our life, giving us a plan, as well as the Stations of the Cross, which is a very contemplative process of thinking about Jesus' crucifixion. And then on Maundy Thursday at 6 o'clock, we have one of the most intimate and beautiful liturgies of the Christian year. And we focus so very much on that institution of the Lord's Supper, on communion, that rite where we are in communion with each other and in communion with God. At the end of that service, we traditionally will strip the altar to show how Jesus, and God in Jesus, is completely stripped of all of the splendor and majesty that we think and is emptied out as a vessel. And that stripping of the altar is a very poetic way of expressing that theological fact. As we have done for years now, the choir will sing during the stripping of the altar. Last year we sang a South African tune, Indodana, and that was very popular. This year we have something else that's very different, but we think will be just as powerful. It's a setting of some words from St. Patrick's breastplate, that Locrian, which is known as the Deer's Cry, and these words are set by the Estonian composer Arvo Pärt. Arvo Pärt is a deeply spiritual person, and that spirituality pours out through his music. And the setting of words is so very introspective. Christ before me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ in the face of strangers, Christ in all who love me. And that idea of seeing Christ and God's love all around us is expressed very somberly and intensely in this anthem that we will sing during the stripping of the altar. And then at the end of that service, we leave in quiet. It is a very somber moment when we have experienced first the establishment of this rite of communion, and then the desolation of Jesus as his disciples abandoned him. And then we will come back on Good Friday at noon for the Good Friday Liturgy. This is not a Eucharistic liturgy. This is simply a service where we remember the moment when Christ was sacrificed on the cross. And as we frequently do, the choir will chant the Passion, and then we will be doing a setting by the British composer Matthew Owens. And it's a very masterful setting. The chanting is all sort of based on melodic fragments of the tune Rockingham, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. And indeed, we will sing the verses of When I Survey the Wondrous Cross as part of that Passion narrative. But the Passion narrative, as opposed to being in the major key of the hymn tune, is in the minor key, but you can still hear snippets of that melody. And then that service ends with some very beautiful motets and prayers that are said by the clergy. It's a very somber time, and yet we know we can hold in tension those two ideas, that we can experience that sadness and the somberness, but know that Easter is just around the corner. So we hope that as you prepare for that joy of rebirth to come, that you will walk that way of Jesus with us here at St. John's this week.